All right, welcome everybody. We're glad you're here for the January 8th, 2019 meeting of Henderson County Fiscal Court, our first meeting of the year and the first fiscal court meeting for 4 of our newly elected magistrates. I'm glad they're here. I'm sure they're looking at this very long agenda and thinking, holy cow, what have I gotten myself into already? But we will work through this steadily, and I think it'll be much easier than you might expect. With that, I'd like to call up Andrew Powell, our property valuation administrator and one of the leaders at Zion Baptist Church, to give our invocation. Please stand.
Please pray with me. Our Father, we thank you for another year. We thank you for the opportunity to draw together and discuss the issues of our community. God, I thank you for the men and women standing in front of me, and you have anointed them to lead this community. God, I pray that they seek the wisdom that you speak to us in Proverbs, and I pray that you guide their thoughts and their words and their hands in ways that are productive to every citizen of Henderson County. God, we just ask for your blessing to continue upon us as a people, and we pray that we focus on you and bring more honor and glory to you. We ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And for the first time, for some of you, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Magistrate Southern.
Here.
Magistrate Moran.
Here.
Magistrate Putman.
Here.
Magistrate McCollum.
Here.
Magistrate Berry.
Here.
Thank you. You have before you the minutes of the December 18th Henderson County Fiscal Court meeting. I know many of you were here. Please review that quickly. And if anybody has any comments, corrections, or errors or additions.
I'd like to thank Kurt for getting all that information to us, and I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? Please call for a vote.
Magistrate Southern.
Aye.
Magistrate Moran.
Aye.
Magistrate Putman.
Aye.
Magistrate Berry.
Aye.
Magistrate McCollum.
Aye. Shouldn't Butch go first on everything, though, since he's been here longer? I mean,
We'll switch it up.
But I'm not the oldest, Charlie.
I'd like to ask Brenda Ryder to come up to the podium. We're going to just have you review standing orders and have her give you a quick briefing on what these all are. They're basically ongoing expenses of the county we pay, such as utilities and phone bills, but I'll have her explain a little bit more detail.
Standing orders are designated by KRS and approved by the Department of Local Government, and they're generally done as part of the annual fiscal year budget, but then every 4 years they're also done as part of the newly elected. And this is pre-approval of certain reoccurring claims or expenses which may occur outside the rim of the scheduled court meetings, primarily utilities, payroll-related expenses, and some other expenses which are dependent on specific situations as grants. You should have a copy of the current standing orders for fiscal year 19, which are through June 30th of 2019. In the General Road and Jail Fund, pre-approval for utilities. In the LGEA Fund, pre-approval for the state grants. In the Funds 6 and 7, which is state grants and federal grants, pre-approval for any claims or expenses which may occur within these. Pre-approval for Fund 75, which is your bond or construction funds, and that is for active, ongoing expenses. Phone, which is landline and cell phones in the funds of general, road, and jail. Payroll and payroll-related expenses for the funds of general, road, and jail. Postage expenses for various departments in the general fund.
Any questions of Brenda on those?
I
Make a
move we
motion to
accept.
approve the standing orders.
Move to accept.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other thoughts, questions? Please call for a vote.
Master Southard.
Aye.
Master Moran.
Aye.
Master Putman.
Aye.
Master McCollum.
Aye.
Master Berry.
Aye.
Thank you. Is Debbie Edwards from the Humane Society with us today? Yes, ma'am.
Good morning,
Right,
Judge
yeah.
and Newman
Good morning.
Magistrates and Kurt. I'm supposed to say hello to you by name. The only update that we have at this time is, I'm not sure if you're aware, we did post the executive director job. It is posted until the 18th, and then at that time, the executive board will narrow it down, and then the full board will review the final choices and hopefully have somebody starting by February 1.
Great.
Everything else is running as smooth as possible.
Please keep us posted. And I was talking to one of your staff yesterday about a gentleman who called me over the weekend, Mr. James Reed. He had a dog bite issue.
Mm-hmm.
But in the course of that conversation, it just occurred to me that in this period when you're short-staffed, it'd probably be more important than ever to communicate as well as you can with people who call in and with ongoing issues, just get back to them. Please ask your staff to do as much as they can to get back to people, even if they have to call them back to say, we can't get to that yet. It helps them know that you are working on it. So
Absolutely.
just make that suggestion.
Tanya is also here today. She's the president, Tanya Frederick.
Gotcha.
So somebody will be here to keep you guys updated.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Any other questions of Debbie? We're in the process of replacing the executive director and two
One
animal
more animal control.
One more
Or
animal control.
We just
officer.
hired one animal control, started today.
Good. Excellent. Fantastic.
So it was pretty tough having just one animal control. He was pretty much on call 24/7.
I can imagine.
So we're going to hire one more, but we want to get the executive director in line first.
Terrific.
Judge, can I just, Angie kind of spoiled us coming. She's here every month with that report, and we really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It kind of keeps us in tune of the progress of, because, we make our donations, our contributions every year, and so I wished all agencies would come and do that thing also, but Angie was just like clockwork every time. So
We've all
I know it's
worked
big shoes to fill
so
for.
hard to get the shelter where it is.
Yeah, I know you have. And
With
we
your
appreciate
help,
it.
of
We
course.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This time I'd like our judges scholars to join me up here in front of the dais. Ken Jong, Riley Richards, and Reagan Campbell.
Okay, as you see, this month we have 3 judges scholars, which is what we have in January. We have a representative from North, representative from South, and representative from Central. So instead of reading, because I'm doing enough reading today, 3 separate proclamations, I'm going to read one proclamation and put their names in each one. All right. Whereas Riley Richards, Reagan Campbell, King Yang, have been chosen by Central Academy, South Middle School, North Middle School to be recipients of the Judges Scholar Award because they have made a choice to accept changes that would benefit their education and well-being. And whereas change is not easy, however, their ability to embrace change has led growth that will not only further their successes in life, and whereas success is measured in many ways, whether it be passing a test, scoring the winning point, achieving a particular goal, or taking the necessary steps for overall improvement, and whereas the Henderson County school system could not let their efforts go unnoticed, and whereas Henderson County Fiscal Court supports the school system and acknowledges these changes as being significant because students such as these will be our future leaders. And now, therefore, I, Brad Schneider, County Judge Executive Henderson, join the Henderson County Fiscal Court to proclaim today, January 8, 2019, as Riley Richards Day, Reagan Campbell Day, and Kenyon Young Day in Henderson County.
Ken's family, Representative Fiscal. Now, feel free to ask questions, but try to stay awake too. It's a long. I know typically when we have one judge as scholar, they sit next to Mr. Gold, our county attorney, and he kind of whispers in their ear about what's going on, and I think he's dying to get over there in the middle of you and do that, but we have to keep him up here.
As much as I like sitting behind these two gentlemen, or sitting beside these two gentlemen, they'd be a lot more fun to sit with. A lot more fun.
At Mr. Gold's suggestion, I am asked to remind everybody that today is actually a special called meeting of fiscal court to begin the year. In a special called meeting, we can only stick to what is on the agenda to speak today about. So if you have other things you'd like to talk to the fiscal court about other than the items that are on this agenda, I encourage you to maybe come afterwards and speak to me or one of the magistrates. So with that, we'll move on. You have in your packets, ladies and gentlemen, a list of the committees and boards that we've asked you to serve on and that we talked about at our retreat about serving on. If you want to review those, in lieu of me reading the entire list, if you have any questions or suggestions or corrections to this, I tried to remember exactly what you wanted to do. And for the benefit of our audience, these are both subcommittees of fiscal court, boards and nonprofit organizations on which we have a agreed upon seat that we appoint from members of fiscal court.
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? Okay. We'll
Does
take a
that
vote.
include the 4-star and the air?
We're going to go to that next, Charlie.
Okay.
So we have a motion to approve the judges and magistrates boards and committees. Take a vote, please. Yeah, let's do a voice vote just to see being up. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. That second page are 3 appointments we need to make for representatives of fiscal court or members of the community who are willing to serve at our request. First is Bill Latta, who is being reappointed to the 4-Star Industrial Park Board. He's served many years and is recommended by Chairman Doug Bell to be reappointed, and Bill would like to continue to serve. Jonathan Dixon has been selected by me to serve the remaining term of Larry Phillips on the County Board of Zoning Adjustment. Jonathan came heavily recommended by Mr. Southard, and after talking to Chairman Dickey Johnson, Jonathan Dixon has been recommended by their chairman too. So, any questions about Jonathan? And finally, George Warren has asked to be our representative on the Audubon Area Community Services Board, replacing J.R. Stanley, who resigned, and George has agreed to do that. And George has a lot of experience with some social service agencies here, including some that really helped his family. So I thought that was a good appointment. So any questions about those?
Judge, I move we appoint Mr. Latta, Dixon, and Warren.
We have a motion.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other thoughts, comments, or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, also in your packets is a list of the holidays that county government employees take. These are the same list of holidays, the same holidays we've taken the last several years. We must accept those into our regular schedule for the calendar year.
I move we accept.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other thoughts, comments, questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next on the list is our meeting dates. And as you know, in the past we have, several years, we've met on the first and third Tuesdays of the month at 9:30 a.m. After talking it over with staff, especially Paula Wilson, our financial officer, and Brenda Ryder, our treasurer, it was suggested that we move the meetings to second and fourth Tuesdays to allow department heads and others who do a lot of financial reporting, but right at the first of the month, to have an extra week to get those reports in. It makes it easier to have up-to-date information at the fiscal court meetings, and it makes it easier on department heads to get that data gathered together. I don't know that the first and third was ever anything written in stone. It was just convenient, and we kind of agreed that moving it to second and fourth isn't any less convenient or more complicated. And again, it does aid our staff members and department heads and elected officials. So any thoughts about that?
I'd make a motion to approve with the notation that December 23rd is a Monday instead of a Tuesday, so we don't meet on the 24th.
And that October the 1st is the first one, I assume because of the fall
Right.
break.
Those are the only two variations in order to avoid fall break and to try to get a meeting in before the end of December. And we thought because the 23rd was a Monday, unless anybody thinks they might be traveling and unavailable to be there on Monday, the 23rd, we could change it, but wanted to.
I'm okay with it. Let's make a motion to approve it as written.
Any
Yeah,
other
I
thoughts?
second it.
Okay. Motion and a second to approve the schedule. Any other thoughts? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. Fee office budgets. If Sheriff Brady wouldn't mind coming to the podium just a bit. Every year, the two fee office budgets, both the county clerk's office and the sheriff, must turn in these recommendations for annual cost of salaries, including benefits. It is a KRS requirement. As I mentioned, maybe to some of you before, even though this is a requirement of the fee offices, their budgets are actually controlled by the budgets that we pass every fiscal year. But both Sheriff Brady and Renisa Abner, the county clerk, have to turn these in. I'll let Ed describe his submittal for a moment.
Well, basically what this is the upper limit. We cannot go over this limit. Generally in the budgeting process, we budget less money than this. The treasurer has recommended, and I agree with it, that we always try to put a number in there that we know we're not going to exceed. Variables in it will be cost of health insurance, cost of retirement. That's two things that have to be considered. We seek input from the county treasurer on those two figures. Also, in this consideration, we have two new school resource officers that are added in there. Their flow through, that's about $80,000 for their salary and benefits, but the school system pays that. It will show us paying it, but the school system reimburses us the total of that, and then it reflects a request for a 3% raise.
Now, Renisa's office was granted an extension by Department of Local Government until the 15th, so she'll be submitting her fee schedule or maximum salary schedule, I should say, at the next fiscal court meeting. But I appreciate Sheriff Brady submitting his today. Any questions of Sheriff Brady?
I do. So the resource officers are only making $40,000 apiece?
They're making $35,000 apiece, but they're working a 195-day schedule. They're working the school schedule. So in the summer, when the schools dismiss for their summer vacation, the resource officers go home and they're not paid. Retirement, because they're contract employees on a one-year contract, we do not have to contribute to health insurance and retirement. Correct, Steve?
Yes, there's a statute specifically passed for retired law enforcement officers being reemployed by sheriff's offices, and the individuals hired were retired state troopers. So there's a specific statute that allowed for that, to where if it's a no more than 1 year contract, that it can be there. You don't have to put in money for pension or health insurance for it.
Flow-through money, the only cost the county has on the school resource program for North and South Middle School, we do supply a car. We're supplying them an old police car that shouldn't be out chasing people, enforcing the law, and we supply them with their sidearm. Other than that, the school is picking up total cost, uniforms, salary, any other cost that there is, they're picking that up.
The rest of your employees, does this include their health insurance, unemployment, and workman's comp as well?
Includes everything.
And retirement?
Yes.
Well, I mean, from my looking at our budget from this year, this is about $500,000 more than we had last year. I don't.
In our figures?
Yes, sir.
I don't believe that's correct. I think, how much was it, Dwight? More than what we spent? How much?
We're up about 250,000.
About 250,000 is what we recognize. If there's a number other than that, we'll review it with you. But
And again, Master McCollum, this is a high-end guess. We will determine their actual costs when we do the budgeting for next year.
With our retirement costs going up 48% next year, I don't think it's sustainable. I mean, I can't vote for a $250,000 increase without having further information.
Well, again, this is a maximum. It is not what they're actually going to spend.
Well, let's cut it down to what they had this year and go from there.
Well, it's hard to guess at the beginning of the year exactly what's
But you
going to
can come
happen.
back and amend it and do it, and then we can see what it is later.
Well, don't you think that's going to be part of the budgeting process for 19 and 20 fiscal year?
But I don't want to prove something ahead of time that I don't know what it is.
Charlie, I'm not certain Steve would be better to address this. I don't believe we can amend this number. I mean, this number is kind of the upper limit, and our job is to come in under that number, and we want to put sufficient figures in there that we knew.
What was it last year?
I can get the report and come up with the
I mean,
exact number.
I don't have a problem with doing what was last year, but I don't want to increase it. I mean, until I get information and know what we're doing financially.
And again, this doesn't dictate what exactly we're going to do with his budget. It only provides a maximum amount for KRS standards.
We know there's going to be an increase in retirement. We know there's going to be an increase in insurance, so it can't be the same number as last year because we would go over. So what we're trying to do is estimate those increased costs high enough that we know we're going to come in under, because we cannot exceed that number.
So I don't know. I don't want to continue. What I've looked at is the last 10 years' budgets. They've increased dramatically, and we went broke. I mean, we were writing bad checks out of the general fund. And that's one reason I'm here, is I don't want us to go and have to raise taxes every 5 years.
Absolutely.
And that's where I am. I just don't want to. So I don't think I can raise it up above what you got from last year.
Well, and when we budget, we're going to be tasking the departments to think about flat year-over-year budget. This is not the controlling document on what we do with the actual budget.
Well, I mean, he's asking for a 3% increase. In the last 10 years, we've had the lowest inflation that we've ever had in my lifetime. And yet the increases that this court has given has been really substantial. And I'm not against the public. I'm not against your office. I'm not against it. But I'm here because this is my job to make sure that we are financially responsible with the money that we have.
Well, and again, that 3% raise is not controlled by this document. It's controlled by our budgeting process. We are not necessarily approving a 3% raise for.
And I'm just expressing my opinion and where we stand. Mm-hmm. I just can't approve a $250,000 increase. I just can't do it.
And you'll certainly have a chance to weigh in on that desire when we actually budget.
Sure.
I have a question.
Sure.
On the increase, is that the 28% increase we're going to have on our Is that figured in on that?
I believe the number we put in there was the number recommended by the treasurer. Is that correct? The treasurer recommends the number to put in for retirement and the number to put in for insurance. I have no control over that. That's pretty much dictated by Frankfurt. And I think their best guesstimation is that increase would cover it. Dwight was very much involved in putting these numbers together. Am I stating that accurately?
Yeah, the first 6 months it's going to be staying the same because it's already set in the fiscal
It's in
year.
this budget.
Right.
Right, they're expecting it to be going up, and so they give us a percentage to multiply that by, and that's where the next 6 months come from.
And that's added into this, that's added into the
Yeah.
250,000. So
Yes.
that's part of the increase.
Well, and I want to clearly understand that there's an $80,000, maybe almost a $90,000 increase because of the flow through from the two school resource officers. That $80,000 shouldn't be considered as an increase because it's
coming
flat.
back.
We pay it out, but they pay us back. But we have to show it in our budget that it's being paid out. So that's $80,000 of it there.
Okay.
And then the increase the guesstimated increase in health insurance and in retirement is put in there also.
Yeah, so Dwight, you used a 12% for pension and a 10% for health care. Does that sound right, Brenda?
It wasn't exactly that. I mean, I've got the numbers downstairs. Can you bring those up?
Dwight, can you get it so we can break it down? I mean, I've got the numbers that we've got from the budget this year, and I've got the sheriff at $105,000, the deputies $1,181,000. I think it's maybe the cleft fund $70,000, retirement $387,000. But I'd like to see what the numbers are what you're figuring on. Can we table this then until they come back and move on?
The question is, are we allowed to table it? Any opinion on that, Mr. Gold?
We're going to do it today. I'm just tabling it for the time being.
Revisit it later, yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't a motion or anything on it, so
Okay.
we can come back and address
When
it.
Dwight comes back, we'll get back to it. And again, Renisa will be submitting hers next meeting. Next, we have a resolution authorizing county attorney's office to collect jail fees. Again, this is a
County attorney or the
county attorney's
yeah,
office.
yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Now, again, this is a recurring allowance for the county attorney's office. If Mr. Gold wants to elaborate at all.
Well, basically, a few years before I started, the very wise prior county attorney got together with the jail and tried to figure out ways to collect jail fees and maximize benefit for the county. They ended up putting it out for bid, and the bids all came in at a third or higher as far as the collections. And at that time, County Attorney McCollum said that the county attorney's office would provide that service for 25%. And since that time, there's been $240,888.46 returned to the jail, and that's obviously not the easiest money in the world to collect, just because a lot of times you're trying to collect from people that don't have a whole lot of money, and you try to seek a balance between recovering that money for the jail and working with the people to help them get on their feet and survive as well. So that's a program that I think has worked out and been mutually beneficial both to the county attorney's office, the jail, and the county as a whole.
Steve, you're still letting people make small minimum payments.
Oh,
right?
absolutely. We've got a lot of people making $5 payments a month or something like that.
Make a motion to approve.
Well, we have to read the resolution first. Go ahead.
A resolution authorizing the county attorney's office to collect jail fees. Whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court has previously passed a resolution herein, last time was on January 6, 2015, and whereas the Henderson County attorney is of the opinion that the resolution should be passed by each newly elected fiscal court every 4 years, whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court has authorized the Henderson County attorney's office to collect jail fees from inmates of the Henderson County Detention Center, whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court has previously solicited bids for collecting same, and the offers for collection came back between 33 1/3% and 50%. Whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court is desirous of helping maintain the staff of the Henderson County Attorney's Office, as the Henderson County Attorney has requested the Henderson County Fiscal Court designate how the monies collected for the jail fees be turned over to the Fiscal Court or the Henderson County Treasurer. Whereas the Henderson County Detention Center and its employees are instrumental in the collection of these fees. Whereas the Henderson County Jailer has requested that 25% of the fees be placed in an account designated for any future special needs of the jail, building repairs, etc. and that said account be allowed to accumulate year after year for any special jail needs as determined by the Henderson County Jailer. And whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court has offered the Henderson County Attorney 25% of any jail fees collected in order to secure additional staff, pay bonuses to staff, purchase equipment for the office, and or pay for operating expenses. Now for there be resolved by the Fiscal Court of County of Henderson, Kentucky as follows. 1, that the Henderson County Attorney's Office is authorized to and shall make reasonable efforts to attempt to collect KRS 441.265 jail fees for Henderson County as adopted by Section 137-8 XOA of the Code of Henderson County. The Henderson County Attorney's Office shall be entitled to retain 25% of such jail fees collected for the purpose of securing additional staff, paying bonuses to staff, purchasing equipment for the office, and or paying for the operating expenses. Number 2, that the Henderson County Attorney shall open a new interest-bearing account for depositing 25% of the fees collected and shall deposit said fees into the account no less often than quarterly. Number 3, that any interest earned on the Henderson County Jail's fees account shall be turned over to the Henderson County Fiscal Court and deposited in the general fund no less than annually. Number 4, that the Henderson County Attorney's jail fee collection account shall be subject to auditing at the discretion of the Henderson County Fiscal Court. Number 5, that at the same time that the Henderson County Attorney deposits his 25% of the jail fees into his jail fee account, which time shall be no less than quarterly, the county attorney shall deposit the remaining 75% to the Henderson County Treasurer, at which time the Treasurer shall deposit 1/3 of said amount, or 25% of the jail fees collected, into a special account for any special needs for the jail to be determined by the Henderson County Jailer. Said account shall be allowed to accumulate yearly and to be designated as the Henderson County Detention Center Special Needs Account and shall be subject to audit at the discretion of the Henderson County Fiscal Court. Number 6, that 2/3 of the jail fee monies turned over to Henderson County Treasurer, 1/2 of the total shall be deposited back into the jail fund. Number 7, that the Henderson County Treasurer shall attempt to maintain these funds in an interest-bearing account.
Judge, I'd just like to clarify one thing. This has been the same resolution that's been passed many times over and over, and I do want to clarify, even though it does say pay bonuses to staff in here, we do not pay bonuses to staff out of this or any other money that the county attorney's office has.
And you personally don't get anything from this?
No, not at all.
I have a motion. We have a second. We have a motion and a second. Any other questions about this? Again, this is common practice now for several years, and helps collect fees and helps support the jail as well. So please call for a vote.
Magistrate Southard?
Aye.
Magistrate Moran?
Aye.
Magistrate Putman?
Aye.
Magistrate McCollum?
Aye.
Magistrate Berry?
Aye.
Next, part of our job today is to rehire all county employees, as well as the county engineer, county road supervisor, our EMA director, and our continuation of interlocal agreements with the city and other agencies as they exist now. You have, with the resolution, a list of all the current county employees as of today and their function. And I might also note that the county engineer is Bill Hubiak, county road supervisor Jeff Risley, EMA director is Kenny Garrett. And again, our job is to rehire them, and barring any comments from any of the department heads who want to get rid of somebody right now, I think our county staff is one of the best, our county teams are the best, and hopefully they all want to keep working for the county. So any other questions or thoughts about that?
A question on this. Did the fiscal court approve the hires that the sheriff just made for replacing his employees? They did do that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd make a motion to rehire all the employees.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other thoughts or questions? We have to read that resolution as well, though.
A resolution relating to the Henderson County Fiscal Court reappointing county employees and reaffirming interlocal agreements for a new fiscal court term. Whereas the judge executive is authorized to reappoint county employees with the approval of fiscal court pursuant to KRS 67.7107 Whereas the judge's executive is authorized to appoint a county road supervisor for a term not exceeding 4 years, whose salary shall be fixed by fiscal court pursuant to KRS 179.020. Whereas the judge's executive is authorized to appoint a local emergency management director for a term not exceeding 4 years, pursuant to KRS 39B.020. And whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court deems it in the best interest of Henderson County to continue existing interlocal agreements. Now therefore be it resolved by the Fiscal Court, County of Henderson, as follows. Fiscal Court hereby approves the appointment of those employees noted below for the new fiscal court term commencing January 8, 2019. Position and title and compensation level for all employees shall remain unchanged and be consistent with the fiscal year 2019 budget and adopted pay plan. The reappointments are as follows. Bill Hubiak, William Hubiak, County Road Engineer for a 4-year term commencing January 8th. Jeff Risley, County Road Supervisor for a 4-year term commencing January 8th. Kenny Garrett, Emergency Management Director for a 4-year term commencing January 8th.
And one more clarification before we continue after the motion in a second. Sue Baker listed second there. We will correct that her listing as a county employee.
No, she is.
Oh, because of part-time status?
Yes.
Gotcha. Yeah, she is helping us part-time, so there you go.
Yes. That is, the list is correct.
So we have a motion and a second. Any other questions? Please call for a vote.
Magistrate Southard?
Aye.
Magistrate Moran?
Aye.
Magistrate Putman?
Aye.
Magistrate McCollum?
Aye.
Magistrate Berry?
Aye.
Next, we have a resolution once again authorizing the jailer to accept bond release fees. Jailer Brady is here. Any comments about this?
Good morning.
Good morning.
One of the things that we have done at the facility in the past year is installed kiosks to accept bond money. We're still waiting to accept bond money through the kiosk until it can be determined which account the bond money would go into, because normally the bond money is collected in cash at the jail and it's dropped, and then the clerk comes out to pick that up throughout the week. GTL, which is the company with the kiosk, they have a contractor that comes in, a security contractor that comes in and empties the kiosk. They take it directly to a financial institute, and then they deposit the money, make sure that it matches with the receipt, and then that money is directly transferred to whichever agency the money needs to go to, that account. And we're kind of up in the air right now, and I was getting a message from the Jailers Association on that, as to how the money should be transferred and which account it would go directly into.
But while you work out those details, we need to reaffirm her right to collect them and help bond people out when they need to be bonded out. So,
Will we have to do anything else if they change that procedure?
If it's changed, the money would be a direct transfer. We wouldn't handle the money at all.
So then you don't need this.
Well, it would be collected at the jail, but it would be collected through a machine at the jail. That was recommended by the state auditor.
and we still need to approve her collecting of the money. It'd just be a different way of collecting the money.
Okay.
It's for after hours when the
Well, I
clerk's
mean, you
office-
absolutely need that, otherwise people couldn't get out of jail, and
Exactly.
we need it. I'm not trying to say that. But doesn't the money end up going to the circuit clerk's office?
Yes, sir.
So why would it not just go to the circuit clerks and they deliver it to the circuit clerk?
There's a statute that indicates that absent approval from the fiscal court for the sheriff, or I'm sorry, for the jailer to be able to process those things, that it could only be done by the clerk at the clerk's office. So this enables those nighttime things to happen.
No, I want that, and I want her to be able to do it, but I'm just thinking, why can't they just take the money, the new people, and give it to the clerk?
That would make a whole lot of sense, but apparently our friends at the administrative office of the courts think it makes too much sense for them.
Say no more. I may, do we need to read the resolution first, if you want to go ahead and
Yeah, we need to
Thank you.
read the resolution.
Amy, can I ask one thing?
Yes,
The kiosk, so they can bond out 24/7. That's
Yes,
all the time. That's good.
Yes,
I
sir.
like that.
And then we don't have staff handling money, so it helps.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
I saw in the paper, Amy, the legislature is getting ready to try to do something on the bails and bonds to let everybody out of jail now, I think, and I don't know if that's good or bad, but
It's going to depend on if they have money, and actually I think it was today was the start of it.
was it?
so.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
That word, I'm from Frankfurt and I'm here to help you, is such a misnomer. It just,
Thank you.
Clerk will read the resolution.
Resolution relating to the Henderson County Jailer preparing or accepting bail bonds pursuant to KRS 431.5305. Whereas KRS 431.5305 authorizes a county jailer to prepare and accept bail bonds pursuant to KRS 30A.0603. Whereas historical and current procedures of the Henderson County Detention Center involve the jailer or her deputies preparing or accepting bail bonds in many situations. Whereas the Fiscal Court of Henderson County has previously passed resolutions allowing the jailer and her deputies to continue to prepare and accept bail bonds. And whereas the authority to prepare or accept bail bonds should be reapproved by each successive fiscal court term, now therefore be it resolved by the Fiscal Court, County of Henderson, Kentucky as follows. That the Henderson County Fiscal Court hereby authorizes the Henderson County Jailer and her deputies to prepare or accept a bail bond pursuant to KRS 30A.0603 and approves same. Pursuant to KRS 431.5305, the jailer shall collect a fee of $5 from the defendant. The jailer shall furnish the defendant with a written receipt for the fee. By the 10th day of the month, the jailer shall 1. Report the previous month's bonding fees to the county treasurer, and 2. Submit the previous month's bonding fees to the county treasurer for inclusion in the jail fund.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
so moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions about this? Please call for a vote.
Magistrate Southern?
Aye.
Magistrate Moran?
Aye.
Magistrate Putman?
Aye.
Magistrate McCollum?
Aye.
Magistrate Berry?
Aye.
Thank you, and I'd like to ask Brenda Ryder if she would come back to the podium. We're going to be, again, handling a beginning of the year task and making sure that all the elected officials here in the courthouse have their surety bonds, and I just want to double check with you that these surety bonds have been bought and filed.
Yes, they have.
So
And they
that-
have been recorded by the county clerk also.
So that includes the judge, executive, sheriff, jailer, and coroner, as mentioned in the resolution. We all have to have bonds because we indirectly or directly handle money and other important documents. So any questions about reaffirming that we all have our bonds? You've heard the treasurer's testimony to that effect.
We can go
And
ahead
the-
and read it.
Brenda, the bond company is Keiko Insurance Company.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
I think we can
Because
maybe,
that's the other thing, is that you're approving the surety company as well.
yeah. I think we can dispense with the reading of the whole thing and maybe just the summary if that's acceptable. Everybody understands these steps here, so why don't we just read the summary?
Resolution recognizing compliance of the Henderson County Judge Executive, Sheriff, Jailer, and Coroner with the bond and oath requirements of applicable Kentucky revised statutes and approving sureties.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other questions about that? Thank you, Ms. Ryder. Please call for a vote.
Magistrate Southern?
Aye.
Magistrate Moran?
Aye.
Magistrate Putman?
Aye.
Magistrate McCollum?
Aye.
Magistrate Berry?
Aye.
Sheriff Brady, are you ready to re-engage on the discussion?
Dwight can specifically answer the questions, and then we'll go into further discussion.
First, I'd like to explain that this is slightly inflated because, and correct me if I'm wrong, these numbers, if we go over those, we can get in a lot of trouble at the end of the year. But if we go under them, nothing bad happens. So we're okay if it's over slightly inflated.
And
But-
let me explain to you what I mean when we say they're slightly inflated. Every year that we do this, we're not sure how much health insurance is going to go up. For example, I think Last year, we thought it was going to go up 10%, but we were instructed to put it 15% to make sure that there wouldn't be a surprise on health insurance, and it'd go up 17%, and then we'd be in trouble and didn't have enough money in there. The numbers put in here are numbers that we're confident we're going to come in under. But according to the law, Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, we cannot go over that number. So the number that's in here is going to be higher than the real number. But if we try to guess exactly and we're wrong, and then insurance or retirement goes higher, we're in trouble as far as submitting this number because it's too low.
And how are you in trouble?
Or audits. When they come in and audit us. This is the
No,
state.
you can come back to the court and you can amend it.
I think you're confusing this with the actual budget. This is not what we're asking for the next year's budget. This is a state requirement. The state's wanting us to send this to them saying, okay, we want you to promise us you will not go over this amount right here. This is not what we're coming and asking for in our budget right now.
I mean, Charlie, we can try to estimate this really, 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 really close. But I think by law, this is a number, correct me, Steve, that we have to submit that we cannot go over, correct?
KRS 64.530, subsection 3. In the case of officers compensated from fees, which the sheriff is a fee office, or partly from fees and partly by salary, the fiscal court shall fix the reasonable maximum compensation that any officer except the officers named in another statute, 64.535, may receive from both sources. The fiscal court may also fix the reasonable maximum amount that the officer may expend each year for expenses of his office. The fiscal court shall fix annually the reasonable maximum amount, including fringe benefits, which the officer may expend for deputies and assistants, and allow the officer to determine the number to be hired and the individual compensation of each deputy and assistant. Any revenue received by a county clerk and that's a county clerk thing. At the conclusion of each calendar year, any excess fees remaining shall be paid to the fiscal court pursuant to KRS 64.152.
But we don't do that anymore. We got fee pooling now.
Yes, but their auditors still require the fiscal court to fix
So
this.
what if we went back and did away with the fee pooling, and then you would be in control of your budget and can do whatever you want to with the fees?
I don't know.
I would feel better about that, and then you're responsible for it. And right now, the way it is, from what my viewpoint is, you all just come up with a number, and we've got to come up with the money to pay for it.
Not necessarily. This number is not what we'll pay for it necessarily. It is the maximum that Ed is guessing that they might expend. But again, we control, with his input, his budget through our budgeting process.
Well, once again, it's from Frankfurt, and they're telling you what to do, but it doesn't make any sense to me. I think if you tell me what we are willing to pay, period, and I'll vote for that. What we got in the budget last year, I would vote for. But I don't want this packed numbers. I mean, that's just my viewpoint. That's the way I manage my finances, and that's the way I want to manage the counties.
Charlie, I respect where you're coming from, and I understand where you're coming from. You don't want inflated numbers put
No.
before the court. But for a safety net on that you can't go over the amount, they're slightly inflated, and then when we get into the budget process, we'll know more about exactly how much is retirement going to go up. We can guess 12%, it may be 18%. I mean, I don't know. What
It's 48%.
Well, I mean, I don't know what those numbers are.
They've already told us it's 12% more, which is right now it's 25. It's going to be 48%.
12% increase.
No, 12% of 25 is 48% for what it is before. We can't sustain it.
I'm just telling you, this is the way we've done it every year. It has always worked. We've always come in under budget. I've never gone over budget. This is the way we're instructed to do it in discussions with the treasurer's office. We've always been instructed to do it this way. Now, if there's a different way these numbers need to be computed to make this court feel good, that is legal, you tell us how to do it, and we'll do it exactly the way we're instructed to do. We're doing it the way we've been instructed to do it in the past.
Okay. When the auditors come, remind them to have them come talk to me, because it doesn't make any sense to me. I'm sorry.
Well, and with all due respect to auditors, and I do have a lot of respect because they're the third party that comes in and looks at our books and says the sheriff's office is doing it right and they're not stealing
Right.
money. I appreciate the auditors.
Sure.
But there's always something about the auditors that I don't understand, I don't agree with, or I don't get. But the bottom line is they've got the whip and they can crack it, and we've got to comply with what the auditor wants us to do. So I agree with that statement that a lot of things come out of Frankfurt don't make sense. But the way we've been instructed to do it for several years is this way. And if there's a different way to do it and the court can come up with that process, we will do it exactly the way you all ask us to do it.
Okay.
We want you happy.
Right.
We also want to do it legally.
I understand. Back in the 80s, we had federal revenue sharing money, and the feds did away with it, and the county was pretty much broke. They didn't have enough money to make payroll, and that's why they went to the fee pooling, so they could grab your money right at the beginning each month, and the same thing from the clerk's office, so they could make payroll for the whole county. But at that point, before that, though, when you didn't have fee pooling, the sheriff, this would make sense if we were in that situation, because this is how much you can spend, and I can understand that. But the way we're running it, we're responsible for whatever whatever the expenses are. Not that I like that, but anyway.
I'm telling you all right now, you're the legislative body for our office, and you tell us how you want the things done, then that's the way we'll do them. This is the way we've been told to do it for the past years. And
I'll reiterate, the time to do that is during budgeting for the next fiscal year. That is the moment when everything you're worried about, Magistrate McCollum, can be handled. The best place to express your concerns and actually put them into action. This, again, is a state requirement to fix the maximum possible amount that this fee office can spend in a calendar year as per KRS. It's not my choice. And again, I agree that some things Frankfurt does make no sense. But this is our task today. And again, it does not dictate what we do during the budgeting process, other than do everything we can to make sure the sheriff's office doesn't go over this amount in a calendar year.
I have this $2,600,000, the number you come in with. That's not the budget number, correct? So you do have a budget number that you have to meet. This is just
our
this
budget
is just
printout
saying,
sheet that you get every month from the
Yes.
treasurer tells you how much we actually have budgeted for each one of those items, and it tells you what percentage we've spent of that.
Right.
We cannot go over that, and that number that's on your printout sheet that you get from Brenda
Yes.
is always lower than the numbers that are on this sheet.
Yes.
But we're required to come in under the number on this sheet. So it's just kind of a safety net that we go, we're not going, if you get what I'm saying.
So why not just come in with the budget numbers that we've approved?
Because I think he tried to explain that they don't know that yet because we are not sure of health insurance estimates. At this point in time, there are a lot of X factors still out there that we'll have a better handle on when we get to budgeting season in later spring.
Steve, if we pass something that's with the budget numbers now, can you not change this number later?
No.
The way the statute reads is that it's done annually. It doesn't necessarily because I think, when is it due for you all to send to your auditors?
This number?
Yes.
It's my understanding we had to do it this meeting
Yeah, it
to
was the
comply
first
with
meeting
the
of the-
requirements.
So-
And we would rather wait, Charlotte, till later in the year when we have solid numbers, where we can give you
Right.
much closer guesstimate on what we're doing, but it requires us to do it before some of those numbers are even in.
And Charlie, you mentioned earlier that we were $500,000 over the last year. That confused me at first, but I think what you may have been looking at was our actual budget for last year.
Correct.
This is up $240,000 from what we actually sent in last year for the state budget. So our actual budget was about $250 less than what we brought in January.
Okay.
And so what we bring in January, in July or June again, will be less than this right here. We're just going to make sure we do not go over this number.
Okay. It still doesn't make any sense to me. I'm sorry.
And a lot of things don't to me either, Charlie, but this is what we've been instructed to do, and this is what we're trying to comply with, and that can all change if you all make a decision.
Well, actually, it can't. We're following KRS here, so we're required to do this. And again, your true expenses will be determined in the budgeting process later in the year. Does that make sense, Tim?
I think back, Sheriff, I think about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we may have had a similar discussion on this number, if I remember correctly.
I don't recall ever having this discussion, but we may have.
It was, I think it was David Kraft and yourself, George Warren, and me.
Oh.
And it was.
Yeah, and our issue then was, we put in numbers as recommended to us to put in
Right.
there. It was the Budget Committee, it was George Warren and,
Yeah.
and Butch Putman, and we were encouraged to bring that number down, and I said, you as a magistrate bring it down, because if we underestimate it, we got a problem that I don't want to be responsible for, and we all were able to reach an agreement.
Yeah, and
on
it landed
worked out.
on a lot of the unknowns. Overtime, I know it was the issue with overtime. At that time, I didn't know that, say there's a car wreck and the individual goes to the hospital or whatever, then that deputy, if there's something in question, has got to stay there till whenever, right?
Well, much of our
and-
overtime budget is driven by flooding.
Yeah.
If we have a major flood, we've got a lot more overtime than we do if we have a good year weather-wise.
But I was just
There's a
thinking-
lot of variables there
Yeah,
that
I
you
would-
kind of got to hope you hit a number that you can come in under.
Yeah.
If
but-
we have a good year with no flooding, our overtime is in great shape. If we have
Yeah.
a bad year with flooding, it hits us pretty, and other items.
And again, it's much more related to our actual budgeting process we'll do later in the spring than
Yeah.
this account.
Yes.
But we had that similar thing that Charlie's going over today. You just have to think about it.
Understand.
Yeah.
Okay, any more questions on that? Again, we are required by KRS. We shall fix the maximum, and we need to do it today for it to turn in a proper deadline. So entertain a motion to accept this estimate.
I move to accept.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? Please call for a vote.
Magistrate Southern,
Aye.
Magistrate Moran,
Aye.
Magistrate Putman,
Aye.
Magistrate McCollum,
Nay.
Magistrate Berry.
Aye.
And a reminder, Renise Abner will be bringing her estimate in next meeting. Next in your packets, we have a motion, we have a resolution to accept a memorandum of understanding between the county and the city on how the Ohio Drive project will be divvied up in terms of responsibilities. And I'd like to call County Engineer Bill Hubiak, who has reviewed the memorandum of understanding, and I believe you are okay with it.
Yes, sir, I am.
And again, this is a great project for our community. We have approximately $1.45 million in grants to help widen Ohio Drive into a 3-lane road with proper shoulders to help all the heavy industry on that street. We are going to begin that project shortly, and especially after we agree to this memorandum of understanding with the city. Any other thoughts?
We're already moving forward with some of the utility relocations, so this is just a formality to get the interlocal agreement resolution finalized between the city and the county to move forward.
Have y'all had a chance to read the memorandum? Any questions about that?
No.
Okay. If you don't mind, I'd like the clerk to read the summary again instead of going through the whole thing, because it basically says we're accepting the memorandum as written. So, clerk, if you don't mind.
Resolution authorizing county judge executive to execute memorandum of agreement with the city of Henderson regarding the Ohio Drive expansion project.
Any other thoughts?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Again, any questions or comments? Please call for a vote.
Magistrate Southern,
Aye.
Magistrate Moran,
Aye.
Magistrate Putman,
Aye.
Magistrate McCollum,
Aye.
Magistrate Berry.
Aye.
If you might stay here, we have next resolution accepting Crane Hill Trace, a street in the Bent Creek subdivision, into the county road system. And Mr. Hubeck, if you want to elaborate on that a little bit.
Yes, this street was constructed according to our public improvement specifications dictated in our planning commission recommendations. Also, there are sidewalks associated with this acceptance that will be taken into county maintenance perpetually forever. So everything was done and inspected according to the construction detail plans that were approved and the guidelines that are required by the planning commission.
Bill, was it cored?
Do what?
Was the street cored? Did you core it to make sure that
No, we're out there on site when they are putting down the materials. They're visually inspected and measured each portion of the improvement itself. We don't core them. We're actually on site when they put it down.
So you're satisfied with the drainage, the base, and the concrete?
That's correct. They have all that in. They have the curb and gutter. They have the correct catch boxes, and they have correct pipe and discharge.
you know the problem we've had in the past with,
Yes, sir, we don't have that anymore because we actually do the inspections like we're supposed to.
I'd make a motion to approve. Do we need to read it first?
Yeah, let's go ahead and read this.
A resolution accepting Crane Hill Trace in Bent Creek Estates subdivision, Section 4, into the Henderson County Road Maintenance System pursuant to KRS 178.115 and all other applicable law. Whereas pursuant to KRS Chapter 178, Henderson County maintains a system of county roads, and whereas KRS 178.115 authorizes the fiscal court to open and establish county roads it deems in the best interest of the county by resolution setting forth the necessity for said road, and whereas the Henderson City County Planning Commission has voted to recommend the acceptance of public improvements in Bent Creek Estates subdivision, Section 4, after making findings that the improvements were constructed in accordance with all applicable public improvement specifications, and whereas the county engineer has inspected the improvements and confirmed that they all meet the applicable public improvement specifications, and whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court has received testimony from the county engineer that the establishment of Crane Hill Trace in Bent Creek Estates subdivision, Section Number 4, is necessary to provide ingress and egress to the residents and landowners therein. Now therefore be resolved by the Fiscal Court of County of Henderson, Kentucky as follows. Pursuant to KRS 178.115 and all other applicable law, the Henderson Fiscal Court hereby finds that the establishment of Crane Hill Trace in Bent Creek Estates subdivision, Section Number 4, is necessary to provide ingress and egress to the residents and landowners thereon. Number 2, the Henderson Fiscal Court hereby approves and adopts the recommendation and findings of the Henderson City County Planning Commission with regard to the subject improvements. Number 3, the following improvements have been made to Bent Creek Estate subdivision. Number 4, are hereby accepted into the county road maintenance system, which is deemed in the best interest of the county. Street, curb, and gutter, approximately 336 linear feet of 32-foot wide asphalt pavement street, including 2-foot concrete curb gutters and a 45-foot radius cul-de-sac, which is hereby designated Crane Hill Trace. Furthermore, approximately 660 linear feet of 4-foot wide concrete sidewalk service and pedestrian traffic around Crane Hill Trace is hereby accepted for county maintenance. Pursuant to KRS 178.115, the Fiscal Court directs the Fiscal Court Clerk to post a certified copy of this resolution at the courthouse door of the county within 5 days after its adoption, and further directs the county road engineer to post a certified copy of this resolution by, along, or at Crane Hill Trace within 5 days after its adoption.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions of Bill on Crane Hill Trace?
Bill, who will put the CR number on there?
We do.
Okay, so that'll be taken care of too?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Please call for a vote.
Master Southern.
Aye.
Master Moran.
Aye.
Master Putman.
Aye.
Master McCollum.
Aye.
Master Berry.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Hubiak. Our judges, scholars, are you still with us? Hang in there. Hang in there. Good job. Mr. Gold, your report, please.
It's only going to get more exciting because I'm about to get a bunch of checks. Yeah. Judge, I've got several checks today. The first is and just for explanation, the reason there's so many checks is there's one employee in my office that we're able to bill the state for a portion of their salary and benefits, and so that's why sometimes we get checks like $3.61 or something like that, but we try to squeeze everything we can out of that. So first check is $1,565.06 for salary, FICA, and retirement. Dental and life insurance, $3.61, and $379.26. Health insurance, $298.74, and $8,927. Bringing today's total to $11,173.67, and the fiscal year total to date, $88,391.20.
And again, these are regular payments made by Steve's office back to Fiscal Court for the items listed there.
Move to accept.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions about that? I don't want to fly by anything if any of the new magistrates aren't sure about what they're looking at. Again, these are regular payments. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please call for a vote.
Master Southern.
Aye.
Master Moran.
Aye.
Master Putman.
Aye.
Master McCollum.
Aye.
Masher Berry.
Aye.
Okay, I'd like to call up Treasurer Brenda Ryder again for any claims and fund transfers she might have. And you should have in your packets a report of our budget to date and how we're performing.
I have two claims from the general fund in the amount of $1,328.19 to Downey Plumbing. This is for courthouse plumbing repairs and is to come from the custodial supplies appropriation line. From the jail fund in the amount of $800 to rookies. This is for the December awards banquet, and this is to come from the staff training and meeting appropriation line of the jail fund.
Motion to approve the claims.
I move we pay the claims.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions about those two claims? Please call for vote.
Masher Southern.
Aye.
Masher Moran.
Aye.
Masher Putman.
Just a clarification, I did go over this with Brenda yesterday, by the way. I know we didn't meet as a finance committee, Charlie, but I called Brenda and kind of touched base on them. So, yeah. Aye.
Okay.
Masher McCollum.
Aye.
Masher Berry.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any fund transfers?
No, sir.
A point of note about the committees, including the Finance Committee. They will be meeting regularly. Committees listed in that in the document that you approved. And we'll be setting the schedule for those here shortly and announce them. Some of them constitute public meetings, for instance, the road committee meetings. So we'll be developing a regular schedule of those.
Kurt will let us know about that. He's been really good, and I appreciate it.
Good deal. Any questions, too, about the current update on the budget? Okay. Now we're going to get to material bid openings and some openings on some other processes. I'd like to, Mr. Hubiak, to help us with those.
You're welcome.
Oh, hurry, Bill, hurry. The anticipation's killing us.
And your first bid's opening will be for materials for the road department.
So to our judges, scholars, as you've seen, we try to be very responsible with all the money, and any time that we spend money, especially if it's over a certain amount, we have to put it out for bids for people to have an opportunity to be the provider of those things. So you're going to hear about things like all different sizes of rock, gravel, concrete, road, everything, but we actually buy a whole lot of that stuff, and so getting the lowest and best offer and bid on all those is really important.
So any of the other members of our audience who want to escape now, go for it.
There are probably some here just to hear
Yeah.
this, actually. That's my suspicion.
First bid I'm opening is from Ohio Valley Drainage.
Thank you, Bill.
This bid is for the N12 plastic pipe that we use for the magistrates who are new. The county has passed a resolution years ago that we only use the N12 pipe, which is a double-walled plastic pipe. It doesn't degrade unless it's exposed to the sunlight, which it's buried, so it shouldn't. And it carries almost 1.5 times the volume of water that a corrugated pipe does because it doesn't cause the turbulence. So we, as you know, that in case you didn't, a large portion of our county is in the floodplains of both the Ohio and Green River. So this was something to help us promote the drainage of our county. Okay, I'm going to try to go through this and read it best I can. What I'm going to do, and this is, I'm going to read the cost for a 40-foot or 20-foot section. Okay, I'm going to read the size of the pipe and then the 20-foot section because that's how they're all listed. And we're going to go with 4-inch is 2253. 6-inch is 5382. 8-inch 7675. 10-inch 10218. 15-inch 16080. 18-inch 213 even. 24-inch 36840. 30-inch 545.76. 36-inch 692.16. 42-inch 951.60. 48-inch 1,179.60. 60-inch 1,940.88. The rest
Bill-
are the couplers. And
Bill,
I'm
unless
just-
I misheard, I think you skipped over the 12-inch, which was $122.73.
Which
$122.73, the 12-inch.
On 12-inch? Okay.
Yeah.
12-inch was 122.73. That looks like the only bid that we received on drainage pipe. And all these bids were advertised in accordance to the KRS. The next one's from Moit Concrete. This is concrete bid.
Thank you, Bill.
That's all right. I got it.
We can share. We're good sharers.
$3,500 PSI Class A concrete mix, $119.50 per cubic yard. 4,000 PSI, $121.50. Flowable fill, $80. Structural flowable fill, $84. Next bid is from Rogers Group. This will be on aggregate. I'm going to read the aggregate size and then the two prices that they have. One is the price pickup at FOB at the yard, and then the second one is delivered to the county road department, price per ton. So, DGA 925, 1850, 8 9Ms, 1210, 2135. Channel liner number 2, 1380, 2325. 23s, 1045, 1970. 57s, 1045, 1970. Number 4, 1045, 1970s. Manufactured sand, $9.20, 1845.
And to clarify, these are different sizes of rock.
Next bid is from Mulcher Crushed Stone. This is also for aggregate. going to read these the same way. The numbers are slightly different. This is just a variation between what they term different size rock from one state to another. So, 610s DGA, this is FOB, and they have us three prices. They have picked up at the yard, delivered to the county road garage, and the third bid is for delivered to any point within Henderson County. 610s DGA 1550, 1945, 1975. 57s and number 3s, $16, 1995, 2025. 68s, 17, 2095, 2125. 9Ms, 1815, 2210, 2240. Riprap, this is channel liner. 2050, 2545, 2575.
And on the second page, Phil's saying 1020 and 1415.
Thank you, Judge. Next bid, this is the bituminous concrete asphalt bid, first one. This is from Road Builders out of Greenville, Kentucky.
And this is specific to the Ohio Drive project?
Yes, this is specific to the Ohio Drive project. Okay, we have hot mix base. This is in place. This is 6531. Hot mix binder, 7063. Hot mix surface, 7358. And this also includes a DGA shoulder at $35 per linear foot. I will have to check with them. I believe that because they bid the shoulder, that this bid is for both. But I'll double check on that, Judge, when we take it under advisement. Or no, that one is. They got a separate bid for the regular. This second bid is from Road Builders. This one would be for all of Henderson County. The first one was just for the Ohio Drive project. The reason for the separate bid for Ohio Drive, because of the federal grant funding that we received, it had to be bid under the current Macon-Davis wage scale. Whereas our regular funding from the road department is not required to have that on there. Okay. They have an FOB, that would, if we wanted to pick up asphalt, it's $60 per ton. Hot mix base placed on the road, $65.31. Hot mix binder, $70.63. Hot mix surface, $73.58, and $35 on the DGA shoulder. Next bid is from J.H. Rudolph. Let's see if I can get the Ohio Drive one first. just read the ones they got first. All right, this first number is picked up at their plant, and we have hot mix surface 71, intermediate 69, and base is 63. Next numbers are applied to the roadways. Surface at $86, binder at $77.20, base at $71, and the shoulder at $38 per ton. The next bid that they bid on was a chip and seal. Oh, sorry.
Bill, if you describe briefly what chip and seal is for our...
With what?
Describe briefly what chip and seal is.
Chip and seal is a coating that's a step up from just gravel road, where they take the material and they overlay the road with a bituminous mixture of oils, and then they put the rock down on top of it to bind it in there. It's a thin layer. It's not as substantial of a roadway as bituminous concrete itself, so it's something that has been bid. We have not done a chip and seal project in Henderson County since I have been here, just because I have a engineering background, and I feel that our money is more wisely spent taking care of the bituminous concrete roads as we do. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the, this is the emulsifier. RS2 is $20.85 per gallon. MS2 is $2.85 a gallon, and Primer L, they didn't have any bid.
That RS2 bid was $2.85, right? Not $20.85.
$2.85.
Right.
Okay, sorry. Price per square yard on a single chip and seal is $2.30, and a double chip and seal is $3.55.
Bill, what was the company? What's the company's name for these?
That is J.H. Rudolph.
Okay.
The last two have been.
The next one is from Rogers Group. Okay, the first number is FOB picked up at the plant. Surface is $65.35, binder is $60.15, and base is $56. Applied to the roadway, surface is $73.78, binder is $68.98, base is $64.63, and the shoulder is $33 per ton. For the Ohio Drive project, it's on the second page. And I'll read, even though they have loaded on the truck, we won't be doing that, but still, $65.35 surface, $60.15 binder, and $56 base. Applied to the roadway, Surface will be $68.20. Binder is $63.40. Base is $59.06. And rock is $28.70 per ton.
26.
Do I know? Mm-hmm. For what now?
It was actually lower on the Ohio Drive.
I think it's fewer materials. The first one's for the entire county work,
Yeah.
and the second one's just for a particular road.
Yeah.
But it's per
I
ton.
can't explain that. I mean, that's what they bid. That's,
Another thing to note here is we won't be taking action on these today. Bill's going to take them back and review them, make certain they meet all specs, and then he'll be bringing them back next meeting for our approval.
the
Correct?
last bituminous concrete bid is from E&B Paving. And I'll pass that one out.
So after that review, Master McCollum may be able to get a little bit more insight.
I'm assuming it's probably a longer-term open contract for the whole year versus something they know right now, but I understand.
We were only able to estimate the amount of dollars that was going to be spent on the asphalt on Ohio Drive, and it's over a 2-year period. Okay, so this is the county road paving. Bituminous concrete surface, $90 per ton. Binder, $89 per ton. Base, $89 per ton. Shoulder, $50 per ton. The second page is the Ohio Drive. Surface, $86 per ton. Binder, $86 per ton. Base, $86 per ton. And shoulder is at $50 per ton. That's the last of the material bids. I'd like the court's permission to take them under advisement and come back to our next fiscal court meeting with the recommendations.
So moved.
The second.
Any other thoughts on that? Again, he'll be reviewing and bringing back to us recommendations, so all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry, you had a question?
Yes. On the materials from Rogers Group and from the, I think the other one was out here at the, in Geneva. Quite a bit of price difference between if you pick it up on site. We can't.
No, two things. Number one, our trucks are not made, we don't use triaxles. We don't have triaxles because of the size of our road. It's not conducive for us to go ahead and pick up the materials and take it and then back up to their paver. It would tie up our total truck fleet, and I don't believe we could deliver the materials in a timely manner for them to lay it down. We do not have any asphalt laying equipment of our own. We have a patch machine, a hot patch machine. We're on our second one, which we utilize on a daily basis. But as far as actually going and getting it, we do not have the fleet to be able to accommodate that.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, moving on.
Okay, the next set of bids is for janitorial bid. This is from the France Company, and this is for the courthouse.
And they are our current vendor, correct?
Bill, before you get started, this is the exact thing that they bid last year. It's no change other than maybe the price.
Same specs, yeah.
That's correct.
All right.
Okay, the janitorial monthly price, including all floor care services per the scope of this, is $5,330 per month. In addition, they have monthly janitorial price, including all the per the scope, at $35.25 also, and then they have the things that you can add in, like buffing at 4 cents per square foot, strip and wax at 40 cents per square foot, and carpet cleaning 15 cents per square foot. The second bid I have is from France also. This is for the Judicial Center. Which is the one thing across the street. She told me that she liked it. She read it or not.
I think she was.
Janitorial monthly price, including all floor care services per the scope of this, $6,088 per month. Buffing is at 4 cents per foot with a minimum charge of $150. Strip and wax, 40 cents per foot with a minimum $300 charge. Carpet cleaning, 15 cents per foot with a minimum $150 charge. Exterior window cleaning is priced per job. That was the last and only janitorial services bids that we received.
We'd
So
still
I'd
like
like
to-
the court to let me take them under advisement and bring back the recommendation next fiscal court meeting.
A motion to approve that.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions of Bill before he takes those with him to review? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Last two bids are for the HVAC. It's from J.E. Shekel. This is for the Judicial Center.
Brad, are those passed through to the part of the AOC?
In many cases, yes.
Okay, this is a quarterly maintenance agreement to take care of the Judicial Center over here, which lists all the items and what they consider to be the maintenance on it. And for all that's listed on the first 2 pages, the sum of $3,935 quarterly. The next bid is from J.E. Shekel, and this would be for the courthouse. This is also for quarterly maintenance for all the items listed on the first 3 pages. And I'm mistaken. The first one was for this courthouse, okay? At 20 North Main, even though they had it, the County Judicial Center on the top of that. That was for this one. This one is for the building across the street, and there are 3 pages worth of items that they take care of in the quarterly maintenance agreement for a total price of $7,450 quarterly. I'd like the court to allow me to take that under advisement also and report back at the next fiscal court meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other questions of Bill? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Okay, got through that. Now, we are scheduled to go in executive session, and I'll need a motion to do that, please.
Judge, I'd make the motion to go into executive session pursuant to KRS 61.810 subsections 1B. And what that is, it's deliberations on a future acquisition or sale of real property by a public agency when publicity would be likely to affect the value of the property.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We're going to invite Chris Hobgood to join us for that executive session. I will say that we will not take any action after the executive session is over. We will come back and adjourn. So any of you who are waiting for us to come back and do anything in particular, we will not. So for our judges, scholars, thank you very much for being here today. I think you've arranged lunch
We
for
have.
them. Hopefully this executive session will not last too long. If it does, we will contact you. We'll maybe send a Kurt out to contact you and make a further arrangement. We'll just push back lunch a little bit. It keeps you out of school longer, so that's not a bad thing. So hopefully we will be keeping on schedule here. So we have a motion and a second on executive session. Any other comments or questions about that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're going to go back in our conference room for this executive session.
I'd make a, go ahead.
We need a motion to come out of executive session.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Anybody have any thoughts about that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor can leave.